We are here at the Prudential Center to wrap up today's Seton Hall 82 to Wagner's 44. Seton Hall with the win today. I'm Michael Stamm, joined by John Makuch. It was a game for Seton Hall that we expected them to win, John. This is a non-conference opponent that we thought was a good chance for Seton Hall to pick up a number win under their belt. But today it really looked like Seton Hall figured out maybe their squad. They figured out the rotations, figured out how to play with each other. What did you see today that you were impressed with?
I saw a lot of it defensively. Really offensively, you talked to Coach Shaw a little bit. He wasn't too impressed with the offense, and we'll get into that. But defensively, this is a team that has a ton of chemistry. They've got a ton of energy when you have a certain group on the floor. That was being really led by al-Amir Dawes as a guard, especially picking up a few quick steals in the first few minutes of the game. But defensively, this is a group that can have a lot of guys play well, a lot of guys get in there with long arms, big hands, create steals, create turnovers for this squad. So defensively, this is a really tight-knit group. Offensively, though, they're going to have to figure a few things out going forward. But defensively, they got to figure it out right now, and that's what was expected under Coach Shaw when he came in.
Yeah, al-Amir Dawes led the team in scoring, had a really good game all around. First time in the starting lineup today as a Pirate. He talked about that a little bit in the press conference after the game.
It doesn't faze me whether I come off the bench or start. Just going to, get the job done when I'm out there. So, but it was as my first start as a Pirate, it felt good.
Casey Ndefo, the transfer from St. Peter's, he was another player that we were really impressed with today. Came out and showed out offensively and defensively, had 12 points, 5 rebounds. What did you see from the big man today that you were impressed with?
I saw a player that's going to make a huge impact going for the rest of the season. Casey Ndefo is a player that it maybe not always show up in the box score, what he's able to do, but it will always show up in the final score, his impact on the defensive end. He's a really great physical, kind of really big four that can get in there and make a lot of defensive plays and get a lot of rebounds in there as well, disrupt the glass. But what he always is able to do, he's kind of one of those guard forwards, those point forwards, that they're able to handle the ball really well and create plays for the teammates. Yes, he had a few plays where maybe it wasn't there, the communication wasn't there, but that's going to come with time because he clearly has the skills to be able to make plays as a playmaker. It's just going to come down to, one, his teammates finishing, but also just the total chemistry of how Casey Ndefo makes an impact defensively and offensively.
And that speaks to what we were talking about in that if this team can gel together. A lot of these guys transferred in. A lot of these guys have never played under Shaheen Holloway besides Casey Ndefo. So it's going to take time for them to come together and figure out how to play together. They looked really good at doing that today. There was only a couple players on this team that ever played with each other. Again, head coach for Wagner, Donald Copeland, he was one of the assistant coaches last year for Seton Hall. He spoke about those players and what he's been impressed with in their transition from former head coach Kevin Willard to Shaheen Holloway.
I'm really proud of them. I'm watching them and breaking them down. They're playing harder. They're really playing with real intent. You can see things with them like Jameer's really, getting after the ball and looking for a shot, playing how he should play. Trey Jackson is playing more physical, more assertive. Tyrese, man, himself, he's more assertive and physical. And Kadari, with all the talent he has, there's a lot you can do when you tap into him, and I could see that they're buying into Sheen, which was expected.
One thing that I've noticed about this Seton Hall team, John, is that any given day, one player could step up. Today it was al-Amir Dawes, but another day it could be Kadari Richmond, it could be Trey Jackson, Jameer Harris. What is one player that you're looking for to really just take that next step as they head into a tough road coming up?
There's maybe a little bit of bias based on what I've seen today, but al-Amir Dawes having the most impressive performance against Wagner, he's a guy that could be an absolute spark plug, and it's a huge message to not just al-Amir, but the rest of the team that he was given the start today. Coming out of a transfer from Clemson, you don't expect maybe him to see this much time this early, see the start this early, but seeing what he was able to do, seeing how he was able to come through and get back-to-back threes in the second half at one point, he's a guy that can just change the game at a moment's notice. And to have a guy like that in your squad, he's a guy that can step up in any moment of the game, and that's why he's going to be a player that is probably going to be the one that steps up most of the time for Seton Hall. Yes, Casey Ndefo could be that guy. Obviously, Kadari Richmond could be that guy. He has NBA talent, but al-Amir Dawes is right there as well, and I think he's going to step up the majority of the time this season and step up as the true leader in terms of the stat sheet, especially for Seton Hall.
Yeah, another guy that I'm looking for, Femi Odukale, another transfer, probably had his best game as a Pirate so far today. I want to see him as they hit the road, if he can really take his game to a new level as a Pirate. That is going to do it for Pirate TV's post-game recap of Seton Hall versus Wagner. Seton Hall beats the Wagner Seahawks 82-44. Again, I'm Michael Stamm, joined by John Makuch. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.